Whoa! Do you feel like your muscles are locked up? I mean, really? I'm trying to reach back, but I can't. Stop stretching. It's not the fix that you think it is. If you want relief, you need muscle activation. So here's the deal. Tight muscles don't mean that you're not flexible enough. They tell you that your body isn't moving the way it should. Stretching only gives short-term relief, but muscle activation, that's the real game changer. It teaches your muscles to support and stabilize you, getting to the root of the problem. A study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that muscle activation improved mobility and strength by more than 30%, while stretching offered only temporary relief. Temporary. That's why activation is the smarter long-term solution for tight muscles. So let's jump into it. What I'd like you to do is to begin by coming into all fours. So we're going to start in all fours. Bring the hands down below the shoulders. Walk the hands forward another couple of inches. And so there's some space in the spine, and there's also some space between the hands and the shoulders. And just kind of lift the chest and heart, and then exhale, kind of round the back. Now, don't come into a forceful flexion, just come into sort of your natural flexion, if you will. And listen, friends, if there's something specific you're struggling with in your daily exercises, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to guide you in the replies. Tuck the toes and slowly lift the knees off the floor. You can already start to feel some of your trunk flexors activating, and then press into downward facing dog. Okay, so from here, let's really start to work the transverse abdominis. So you're gonna come into plank. Now, the cueing for plank here is to let the hips dip just a little bit. Energize the legs, navel to spine, press up a little bit between the shoulder blades, exhale back into downward dog. Take a gentle dog here. It's more of a transitional pose. If you need to rest at any time, just bring the knees to the floor. That is also completely fine. You don't have to do all those downward dogs. You can easily come from all fours, and we'll do our second plank pose. Just lift the knees up. Now pull the navel into the spine. Let the hips dip a little bit. Press back through the heels of the feet. Bring the chest forward. And then exhale, bring the knees down to the floor. Inhale deeply, take the navel to the spine, exhale, come into downward facing dog. This changes your center of gravity and forces you to use your transverse abdominis. Exhale, come into downward facing dog. From here, you're gonna kind of bring the feet a little closer to each other. Let the heels pivot. Now you can stack the feet, or you can bring that right foot forward. You're gonna balance on your left hand and lift up. Now, the other option for this pose, if this is too much on your wrist or body, is just to bring the knee down and keep lifting up in the ribs. You see where my hand is? You see there's a bit of an arch here, a curve, if you will, as I'm side bending. And then exhale, come into downward dog. We're gonna do quadruped, this bird dog pose, a few times. So lift the left leg up, lower the hip, and lift the leg up higher. Lift the right arm forward and lift both up as much as you can. And just hold it there for a moment. We're gonna work on the extension in this pose. But the idea here, as opposed to how it's normally taught, is you reach, but I actually want you to lift. So keep lifting up. Exhale, come on down. Let's do the other side. Lift the right leg up, lower the hip, lift the leg up higher, and then lift the left arm and lift both up as much as you can. Remember to keep the right hip coming down a bit as you lift the leg up. There's a tendency to lift through the hip. Don't do that. Bring the knee down. From here, lying on your back, just have the legs in neutral. So don't bring the legs together. Also, don't force them wide apart. So what you're gonna do here is two things. You're going to externally rotate the right leg. Now, don't externally rotate it so much that you lift the left hip up. That's not the purpose. You're just gonna kind of come into your natural range of motion, externally rotate, bend that right knee, and then lift the leg up as high as you can. Now, this isn't about stretching, so just bring it to tissue tension and then lift the chest up. Take the hands and reach for the back of your mat and then pull that pubic ramus, the pubis ramus, or more specifically the pubic bone. Bring it up towards your heart center and just hold it there. And then slowly come back down. Observe how slowly I'm lowering my leg. I just do not let it drop. So don't let it drop here. By the way, I've put together a detailed course that goes way beyond what we're talking about today. You can find it in the description below. Give it a look if you want to live a pain-free life for the rest of your life. What I'd like you to do now is to roll over and then come and stand up. Bring the feet wide apart. All right. So we're gonna just kind of go through a little bit of forward flexion. The key here is to keep the spine as elongated as possible. So we're not going to come into rounding. We're actually going to keep the spine extended. And the cue for that is to keep the chest lifted and the shoulder blades moving towards each other and down the back, okay? So take the shoulder blades back, lift up through the chest and heart, and then exhale, come forward. Now just come forward either to tissue tension or that place before you start to round, okay? So keep the spine again extended. If you need to bend the knees a little bit, that's fine. The goal is not to see how far you can come forward, but to maintain stability within this range of motion. Come on back up. You also want to keep that arch in your lumbar spine. So we want to keep that little curve in the lumbar spine. As you watched me, I only came forward about 30 degrees. So it's not a lot. It's just more about going through different ranges of motion and maintaining stability. In this case, we're coming through forward flexion and we're challenging our transverse abdominis to maintain stability. So from here, what I'd like you to do is just pivot the feet to the right. We're gonna kind of do the same movement, but in a pyramid pose. So square the hips as much as you can, lift up through the chest and heart, and exhale, come forward. Again, 20, 30 degrees. Don't worry about the tightness in your hamstrings. Just only go to tissue tension. So we want to make sure that the psoas is working so that we're supported through different ranges of motion. Bend your knees like you would for bridge pose. And then take your right leg, right ankle across the left knee, and locate where the top of your iliac crest is in your belly button. Bring your fingers in on a diagonal plane and just kind of push them into the belly. You don't have to come in that far. You're gonna take the left hand towards the knee. Don't reach for the knee, just bring it towards the knee and then press that knee into the hands, okay? So just kind of press it in. You can feel the psoas popping out. And we're gonna do this 6 seconds, 6 times thing, as we always do with muscle activations, and then straighten the legs out. Externally rotate the right leg and slide it to the right about 20, 25, 30 degrees, and just lift the leg up for a moment and just hold it there. And this is gonna kind of lock this in with the psoas, hopefully getting it to work properly. Lower the leg down. All right. Bring the hands behind the back, kind of twist a little bit to the right, and then again, come forward, lift up at the pubic bone. You're kind of crunching that first rectus, and then come on up. Friends, do you know someone who could benefit from today's practices? Send this video their way. It's always better when we get pain-free together. And now, come and lie down onto your back. Press down into the backs of the heels, squeeze the glutes, and begin to lift up. Now lift up as high as you can. Go for broke a little bit, lift up a little bit higher. Squeeze the glutes, lift up, and then come on down. Straighten the legs out. This is a well-deserved rest. Come into your Shavasana. If you're feeling a bit better after our session today, hit that like button. It helps me know that you're benefiting and keeps me motivated to share more with you. Tight muscles don't need stretching, they need activation. So see you in the AYAMA course. Let's transform the way you move.